Hello, and welcome to the Byron Center versus East Grand Rapids High School Boys Swim Meet. We should have some exciting races and dives today.
Hey, we're glad you're tuning in. Up first, we have the men's 200-yard medley relay. So tonight, we're going to be alternating lanes between the two teams. The even lanes will be Byron Center, and the odd will be East Grand Rapids. In our A relay for Byron Center, we have Cole Mitchell in backstroke, Jack DeVries in breaststroke, Colton Standorf swing fly, and Nolan Kirkwood in freestyle, anchoring it off.
And in our medley relay for the B team, we have Aaron doing the backstroke, Malachi doing breaststroke, Sam doing butterfly, and Owen doing freestyle.
And in our C relay, we have Ian, Brody, Manuel, and Brady.
We are just about to start.
Off to a quick start in lane 4.
AGR already has about a body length lead going into the turn.
Byron Center seems to be pretty even right now with one another in second and third. Ooh, 26-0 for East Grand Rapids. And 29-1 for Cole Mitchell. In the water for the A relay right now, we have Jack DeVries. For East Grand Rapids, we have a split of 29-4. For Byron Center, the A relay, we have a split of 31-2.
Next up is Colton swing or butterfly.
For the A relay. In lane 2 for Byron Center, we have Manny doing butterfly.
Colton did pick it up and catch them up a little bit in the butterfly.
Colton had a great swim in a time of 25-1. Wow. For the A relay, we have Nolan Kirkwood in the water right now, trying to close the gap between Byron Center and East Grand Rapids.
East Grand Rapids A relay takes the heat with a time of 1:45.47. And Byron Center not too far behind in second place for their A relay in a 1:48.68.
Byron Center was able to go 2-3 in that heat, and their B relay was able to go 2:02.66. Anchoring the C relay right now, we have Brady Walters. Great swims, boys.
BCC relay takes fifth with a time of 2:31 flat. Next up, we have Met 2, the boys 200-yard freestyle.
From Byron Center, we have Chase Weber, Matt Barr, Nate Barr, and Andrew Hill.
This should be a tight race from first with EGR's best swimmer and Byron Center swimmer only about a second apart.
Yeah, less than a second. It'll be close. Well, there seems to be a slight wedge malfunction. But Sam came to the rescue. I just want to take a second to thank our sponsors for the Byron Center Athletics Gold sponsors, the University of Michigan Health West, and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics, and we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center students athletes. Find us at pt-cpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Thank you to the University of Michigan West Health and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. We should begin here shortly.
Matt Barr in lane 4 is entering the meet with a time of 1:54.27. Nate Barr is entering with a 1:59.36. And Andrew Hill has a time of 2:05.52. Let's see if they can go any faster or match their times tonight.
Also, you can follow BCTV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Find us at BCTV25 across all platforms.
And just another quick shout out to some of our sponsors: Byron Township, a community on the move; Gaines Charter Township, Fast Signs, and Family Fare. Save time and shop online with Family Fare for all your tailgating needs. Ooh, a quick start for Byron Center. Flying off those blocks. EGR seems to just have a slight lead on Matt Barr.
Going into the turn, though, they are only about a half a second apart, though.
Matt Barr turns in 26.58. Nate Barr turns in 28.75. Andrew Hill turns in 29.4. And Chase turns in 27.33. Great start.
Spisley has about a body length lead right now going into the fourth wall.
He'll touch in a time of turn in a time of 54.27. And just behind him, Matt turns in 55.67. Starting to pull ahead just a little bit, but it's still anyone's race.
Matt turns in a split of 29.80 at his third 50 split of a 127.10, or excuse me, 125.47.
Chase comes back in a 32.66, and Nate's a 33.11, and Andrew Hill is also a 33.6. Micah from EGR seems to be closing the race a little bit right here. He'll touch in a time of 1:52.3, and just behind him, Matt Barr touches in a time of 1:55.3. Chase Weaver will get fourth with the time of 2:02.8. That is a great time for having a no time before entering the event.
And Nate Barr touches in fifth in a time of 2:07.52. With Andrew Hill not too far behind with a 2:09.21. Next up, we have the boys' 200-yard IM.
From Byron Center, we have Ethan Smith in lane 2. In lane 4, Michael Grover. In lane 6, Colton Standorf. And lastly, in lane 8, we have Brody Dunhill.
This should be a tight race with Michael a few seconds ahead of Logan McCallhill from EGR. But it's anyone's race.
Going into the event, Michael has about a 4-second lead off of Logan.
But first, a quick thanks to our Byron Center Athletic Gold sponsors, the University of Michigan Health West and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical Rehabilitation is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics, and we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center student athletes. Follow us at ptcpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah, thank you to our sponsors. Ethan Smith from Byron Center in lane 2 is entering this event with a time of 2:13.7. Michael Grover has a 1:57.57. Colton is entering with a 2:12.9, and Brody is entering with a 2:54.3.
We will be starting here shortly.
This is the only heat of the 200-yard IM. Ooh, a quick start for Michael at lane 4. He'll pop up with just a slight edge on Logan.
Michael and Logan are almost neck and neck going into their turn, though.
Very good underwater for Michael.
They are very tight going into the backstroke leg.
Tracking not too far behind him is Colton Standorf, a freshman from Byron Center. Michael will turn from fly in a time of 25.6. Colton will touch in 26.3.
With Logan getting a little bit of a lead going into the backstroke, but Michael is a very strong breaststroker, so he'll most likely be able to catch up.
Same goes for Colton. Colton and Carter Kegel seem to be very close going into the breaststroke. Michael will touch the wall in a 100 split of 57.5.
Michael is catching up, though, during the breaststroke leg.
They seem to be just about neck and neck, with Michael slightly behind off that turn. But coming off that underwater, Michael is right ahead of Logan.
This should be a very tight race for the freestyle.
Very interesting race. Let's see if he can pull it off. He has nearly half a body length on Logan going into the final 50, and he's over a second ahead of him. His breaststroke split was a time of 32.5, almost 4 seconds ahead of Logan.
Michael is going into the turn first, but anything can happen at the finish.
Both seem to be closing as they approach the final 15 meters. But it looks like it's going to be Michael coming in the finish. And he does in a time of 1:58.5. Logan touches almost 2 seconds behind in a time of 2:01. Carter Kegel touches in third with a time of 2:09.5, and Colton Standoff right behind him in a time of 2:10.6. Ethan Smith touches in sixth with a time of 2:15.7. And Brody Dunhill, closing the last 10 meters, is going to have a significant time drop. His old time was a 2:54.3. And he touches in a time of 2:46.08. Wow.
Over a 7-second drop. Very nice
Very
swim.
impressive. 8 seconds. Up next, we have the 50-yard freestyle. There are 3 heats of this event. And this first heat is very exciting. We have a little bit of a team rivalry with Josiah in lane 2 and Manny Lopez in lane 8. Manny is the underdog in this heat, so we'll see how it goes. Also, in lane 4, we have Malachi, and in lane 6, we have Brady Walters. This should be a very close race.
just about halfway through the first 25, Manny does have a lead on Josiah.
But they are super close going into this turn.
Malachi is also swimming a strong race.
It'll be a close one. Malachi touches in a time of 32:05, and Josiah will take it over Manny in a time of 33:07. Manny just behind him in 37:11. Super close race. Good job, guys. For Heat 2 from Byron Center, we have Owen, Jack, Sam, and Ian. This will also be a pretty close race.
With Jack DeVries in lane 4.
Seated about half a second ahead of the second seed. But off the start, lanes 4 and 5 are neck and neck going into this wall.
The 50 free is always a very tight and exciting race.
Jack seems to have a slight edge. Oh, he's gaining even more ground as he approaches the last 15 meters.
This will definitely be a closing race, but Jack will take the heat.
Yeah, in a time of 25:13. He drops about 0.3 of a second. Very impressive for a 50.
And Braden Bolt from EGR finishes second at a time of a 25:81.
Also a good time drop from for him for about 0.2.
Next up, we have Heat 3 of 3.
From Byron Center, we have Cam Walters, Austin Briggs, Nolan Kirkwood, and Eli.
This will be a very tight race for first, as the top 3 seeds are within 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, very close. First and second are about 0.13, second and third are about 0.05. So very close race. Anything can happen. Oh, and it appears Austin Briggs is suited up. Off the start, they're about neck and neck.
This will be a very tight race.
Very close. Austin Briggs goes into the wall with a few tenths lead on East Grand Rapids. Off the wall, he's gaining. He has about a half a body length. This is a head down and finish kind of race. Oh, and he goes 22:03.
That is a new best time.
0.4 of a second off his old time. That is impressive.
And Nolan Kirkwood finishes fourth with a time of 23:06. Which is also a slight drop for him.
Ken Walters right behind him in a time of 24:04. And Eli touching in a 25:05. Very good racing there, boys. Up next, we do have diving. There are 7 divers from Byron Center. We have Ethan Weber, Jonathan Wallace, Liam Cruz.
And from EGR, we have George Jansen, Kai Kleinel, Rowan Bischoff, and Charlie Bayer.
Looking to see some very nice dives tonight. But just another quick thank you to some of our sponsors. Byron Center Township, a community on the move, Gaines Charter Township, Fast Signs, and Family Fare. Save time and shop online with Family Fare for all of your tailgating essentials. Thank you.
And would you like a copy of tonight's game or any other event covered by BCTV? Not a problem. Get a hold of us at 878-6781 or through websites www.byrontv.com for either a Blu-ray or DVD of whatever event you're looking for. Blu-rays are only $15. DVDs are just $10. Again, call 878-6781 or visit www.byrontv.com to order your Blu-ray or DVD today. And a thank you to our Byron Center Athletic Gold sponsors. the University of Michigan Health West, and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical Rehabilitation is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics, and we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center's student athletes. Find us at ptcpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And make sure to find us on social media. Follow BCTV on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, find us at BCTV25 across all platforms. Thank you. Diving should start just in a few minutes here.
The divers are warming up and getting ready.
And following diving, we will have the 100 fly, the 100 free, the 500 free, the 200 free relay, and the 100 back, 100 breast, and then the 400 free relay. Still looking forward to a lot of fast racing.
But first, some very interesting end dives.
Yeah, and of course some great dives. We've always said that sportsmanship is the golden rule in action, but why should it stop when the game is over? Now more than ever, we need to respect each other and treat each other with common decency, not only between the lines, but outside the lines in our daily lives. In sports and in life, nothing beats good sportsmanship. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
And we here at BCTV are always looking for new opportunities to connect with our community. And the one that makes the biggest impact is the form of sponsorship. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor of BCTV and would like more information, call 878-6780. Sponsorship rates are affordable, tax deductible, and help bring you even more community-oriented content.
Our divers are warming up right now, getting ready to complete. Again, the divers from Byron Center are Ethan Weber, Jonathan Wallace, and Liam Cruz.
Very nice warm-up dive.
Just another quick thank you to our Byron Center Athletics Gold sponsorships, the University of Michigan Health West, and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical Rehabilitation is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics, and we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center's student athletes. Find us at pt-cpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And diving will start right about now.
Our first diver of the night comes from East Grand Rapids, George Jansen.
This dive has a degree of difficulty of 1.7.
This is our first round. Pretty good start to the first dive of the night. We have scores of 4.5, 4, and 4.5.
Next up, we have Ethan Weber.
With a degree of difficulty of 1.7.
He is from Byron Center.
Ooh, a very nice dive from Ethan.
A little splash in the end, but very good. With scores of 4.5, 4.5, and 4.5.
That'll earn him a total of 22,985. Up next, we have Kai from UGR. He has a degree of difficulty of 1.5.
Right now, Ethan and George are exactly tied for a leader. A less degree of difficulty, but he executed the dive very well.
We have scores of 4 all across the board for a total of 18.0. Up next, we have Jonathan Wallace from Byron Center.
His dive has a degree of difficulty of 1.7. Very nice dive and finish.
We have scores of 4.5, 4.5, and 5. Up next, we have Rowan Bishop from East Grand Rapids. He'll have a degree of difficulty of 1.5.
Very nice dive and throwback of the arms. With scores of 5, 5, and 5.
For a total of
22.5 points.
Up next, we have Liam Cruz from Byron Center with a degree of difficulty of 1.7. Very clean dive, just a little bit of splash on the end, but overall very good.
With scores of 6, 5.5, and 6, taking him to be the new leader.
Excuse us, 6.5. He'll receive a total score of 31.45, putting him in the top spot right now. There's still one more diver of the first round, though, and that is Charlie Bayer from East Grand Rapids, performing his dive with a degree of difficulty of 1.6.
Very nice dive. Very little splash at the end as well.
Very clean. He'll receive the highest scores of round 1 with 8.5, 9, and 8, putting him in the top spot with 40.8.
Very nice dives to round 1. And now we move on to round 2.
Up first, again, we have George Jansen. He'll perform his dive with a degree of difficulty of 2.0.
Very nice dive. A little splash at the end and his feet went over, but very good overall. With scores of 4, 4, and 4.
He has a new total of 46.95. Up next, we have Ethan Weber from Byron Center. He'll have a degree of difficulty of 1.8 for the second round.
Very good dive. With scores of 4, 4, and 4.5.
Putting him at a new total of 45.
Next up, Kai from EGR. His DD is 2.0. Very nice spin and entry.
He'll receive scores of 4.5, 4.5, and 4.5 for a new total of 45.0. Up next, we have Jonathan Wallace from Byron Center performing his dive with a degree of difficulty of 2.1 in the second round.
Very good dive.
Very well executed with minimal splash at the end.
With scores of 5.5, 5.5, and 6.
He'll put us at our new leader of 59.5 total points. Next, from East Grand Rapids, we have Rowan Bishop. He performed his dive with a degree of difficulty of 2.0, and he will receive scores of 4.5, 5, and 5, putting him at a new total of 51.5.
Next up, we have Liam Cruz from Byron Center. This DD for this dive is 2.2. Very good spin and
Very
dive.
nice dive.
And judges agree with scores of 6, 6, and 5. Oh, 6, 6, and 6, excuse me.
He'll receive a total score of 71.05, putting us at our new leader of the night.
Next up, we have Charlie Bear from EGR. His DD has a degree of the degree of difficulty is 3.0 for this dive.
Very high. Very well executed dive. There was a little splash on land, but he'll still receive very high scores of 7, 7, and 6.
Taking him up to our new leader of scores of 100, 100.80. And now we move on to round 3, excuse me.
Again, up first, we have George Jansen from East Grand Rapids. He currently has a score of 46.95. Let's see how much he can increase it. He executed his dive perfectly, and it was a degree of difficulty of 1.6 and received scores of 5, 5, and 4.5, getting a total award of 23.2.
Next up, we have Ethan Weber from Byron Center. This DD has a 2.0. Very nice dive. His feet went apart a little at the end, but good overall. With scores of 3.5, 3.5, and 4.
For a total award of 22.0. Up next, we have Kai from East Grand Rapids. He currently has a score of 45.0. His dive will have a degree of difficulty of 1.6 in the third round. A little splashy at the end, but overall still a good dive. He'll get scores of 5, 4.5, and 4.5 for a total award of 22.4.
Taking his total up to 67.4 points. Next up, we have Jonathan Wallace. This degree of difficulty is 2.1.
Wallace currently has a score of 59.5 as well.
Very good dive.
Feet came apart a little at the end, but still looks good to me.
With scores of 5, 4, and 5.
For a total award of 29.4, putting his new total at 88.9. Up next, we have Rowan Bishop from East Grand Rapids, who currently has a score of 51.5.
This dive has a DD of 2.7, so this is another harder dive. Executed very well overall, though, with scores of 5.5, 5, and 5.
His total award will be 41.85, and he'll receive a new score of 93.35.
Next up, we have Liam Cruz from Byron Center. This dive has a DD of 2.4. With scores of 5.5, or 6.5, 6.5, and 6.5.
For a total award of 46.8.
Next up, we have Charlie. This dive has a DD of 2.6.
And the last dive from Liam put him in the top spot for diving tonight with a score of 117.85. Very high.
With judges score of 8, 7.5, and 7.
For a total award of 58.5, putting him in the current spot now with a total score of 159.3. That is a very high score. We are now entering round 4, and leading us off, we have George Jansen from East Grand Rapids.
This dive has a DD of 1.4. It's one of the more simpler dives, but he executed it very well, with scores of 5, 5, and 4.5.
He'll receive a total award of 20.3, putting him at a new total of 90.45. Following this diving, we will have the 100 fly. A very exciting race. Looking to see some good underwaters. Ethan Weaver's dive has a degree of difficulty of 1.6, and he'll receive awards of 4, 4, and 4.5 for a new total of 20, bringing his total up to 87.
Next up, we have Kai from EGR. His dive has a DD of 1.6.
He'll receive scores from our judges of 5.5, 4.5, and 5 for a new award of 24, bringing his total up to 91.4. Up next, we have Jonathan Wallace from Byron Center. He currently has a score of 88.9, but his next dive has a degree of difficulty of 2.4. See what he can do.
Very nice dive.
Very pretty.
With scores of 5, 4.5, and 5.5.
His award total will be 36 and bring his score up to 124.9. From East Grand Rapids right now, we have Rowan Bishop. He has a dive with a degree of difficulty of 2.4 in our 4th round. Very well executed. And I think the judges will agree. They'll award 5.5, 5.5, and 4.5 for a total award of 37.2.
Taking his total up to 130.55.
Next, we have Liam Cruz from Byron Center. His dive has a degree of difficulty of 2.0, and his current total is 117.85. Let's see what he can do. I would say it was pretty well executed. Our judges will agree. 6, 6, and 5.5 for a total award of 35, bringing his total to 152.85.
Next up is Charlie Bear. He is currently leading the score.
He'll be our last dive of round 4. And he is performing his dive with a degree of difficulty of 2.6.
Very nice dive. Very little splash for the end as well. with judges' scores of 8, 8, and 7.5. He's been doing very well today.
He'll get a current total, bringing it to 220.4. Entering round 5, we have Jansen from East Grand Rapids. His dive will have a DD of 1.6.
And with judges' scores of 5.5, 6, and 6.
He'll get an award total of 28.0, bringing his current highest total to 118.45. Up next, we have Ethan Weber.
This dive is a DD of 1.6.
The judges will award scores of 4.5, 4.5, and 4 for an award total of 20.8, bringing his total to 108.25. Well done.
Next up, we have Kai from EGR. This dive he's doing it has a DD of 1.6.
Judges will award 5, 5, and 4.5, giving a total award of 23.2. And up next, we have Jonathan again from Byron Center in our 5th round. He has a degree of difficulty of 2.2 for this dive. Let's see what he can do. The judges will give scores of 4, 4, and 4.5 for a total award of 27.5. From East Grand Rapids, we have Rowan Bishop. He currently has a total of 130.55, and his next dive will have a degree of difficulty of 2.2. He seems very concentrated on the board.
Very nice dive. And with judges' scores of 5.5, 6.5, and 5.5.
Up next, our last diver from Byron Center for this round is Liam Cruz. He currently has a total award of 152.85, and his next dive will have a degree of difficulty of 2.1. Let's see what he can do.
Very nice.
A little close to the board, but
yes,
still well done.
And with judges' scores of 4.5, 5, and 2.5.
He'll receive a total award of 25.2, bringing his new total up to 178.05.
Next up, we have Charlie. He is our current leader right now from East Grand Rapids.
This will be the last dive of round 5.
His dive he's doing right now has a DD of 2.5.
He too seems very concentrated.
Very nice dive,
Beautiful.
Though. And with judges' scores of 8, 7.5, and 7.5.
He'll receive a total of 57.5 points from that dive, bringing him to a new total of 277.9.
And now we move on to round 6.
Our final round of the night for diving. Again, leading us off is Jansen from East Grand Rapids. His dive had a degree of difficulty of 1.9, and he will receive awards of 3.5, 3, and 4.
Bringing his total up to 138.40 points. Next up, we have Ethan Weather from Byron Center. His dive has a DD of 2.2. A little splashy at the end, but judges score of 3, 3, and 3.
threes all across the board to give him a total of 19.8. He'll end the night with a total score of 128.05. Pretty much matching his best total. From East Grand Rapids, we just had Kai perform his dive. He received scores of 3.5, 3.5, and 4, bringing his end total to...
Bringing his total points up to 152.4. Oh, excuse me, wrong diver. Next up, we have Jonathan Wallace. This dive has a DD of 2.0. Very nice spin with little splash at the end as well. And judges scores of 6, 6, and 6.5. Bringing his total up to 189.4 points to end the night.
The last dive for Rowan Bishop will have a degree of difficulty of 2.3. His total going into the dive is 169.05. A little bit of splashy at the end though.
But judges scores of 5, 5, and 5. 5 all across the board.
Giving him a new total to end the night off with 203.55. The last dive for Liam Cruz has a degree of difficulty of 2.2.
Let's see how he can end the night. Very good dive, though. Little splashy in them, but overall scores of 5.5, 6, and 6.5. Bringing his total for the night up to 217.65.
The last dive of the night will be from Charlie Bayer. He currently has a total of 277.9.
This DD has a degree of difficulty of 2.4.
A very clean entry for Charlie, and I think the judges will agree. They give a score of 8, 8.5, and 7.5, bringing his final total to 335.5.
Which is a
winning
very
diving.
good score.
Yes, very impressive.
And that ends diving. Next up, we have the men's 100-yard butterfly, which will begin in a few minutes.
From Byron Center, we have Aaron, Colton, Chase, and Cole. For Colton Standorf, he's entering the event with a time of 57.23, and our second seed from East Grand Rapids is 1/100th behind him with a time of 57.27.
This will be a very tight race.
This will definitely be a very close race. Aaron in lane 2 is entering the event with a time of 1:06.67. Colton again is entering with a 57.23 in lane, 26 in lane 4. Chase in lane 6 has a time of 1:03.38 going into the event, and Cole in lane 8 has a time of 1:10.72. This will be an exciting one. Very close, I'm sure.
But before we begin, a thank you to our Byron Center Athletic Golden sponsors, the University of Michigan Health West and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical Rehabilitation is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics, and we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center student athletes. Find us at ptcpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And another quick little thank you to Byron Center Township. a community on the move, Gaines Charter Township, fast signs, and family fare. Save time and shop online with Family Fare for all your tailgating essentials.
We will begin here momentarily. And we will begin.
This is going to be an exciting one. I'm looking forward to it.
Make sure to watch lane 4 and 5.
Should be very close. Possibly the closest race of the night. Ooh, quick start from Colton in lane 4. Good underwater from both lanes 4 and 5, too. Going into the turn, it looks like East Grand Rapids in lane 5 has just a slight lead on Colton.
But off the wall, Colton does have a lead.
Definitely has the better underwaters and turns.
This will be very tight. Colton does have a lead going into the finish, though, so we will see if he'll be able to take it.
Little long into that wall, but he'll touch in a time of 26:44. Over 7/10 over East Grand Rapids in lane 5.
Rowan.
He's gaining about a half a body length's lead.
Colton is off the wall a little slower, but he is still in the lead. Colton is in the lead, go. This will be a tight finish, but
it looks
Colton
like
does
it'll
have
be
about
Colton, but there's still about 10 meters to close.
So if the finish isn't solid, Colton will not win. But Colton does take the heat with a time of 57:08.
He even drops about a tenth and a half.
And Rowan from EGR finishes second in a time of 57:35.
Both Aaron and Cole will finish in a faster time than they were, and Chase, excuse me. Both Cole, Chase, Colton, and Aaron all go a faster time than what they were seated in.
Very nice job.
Very nice.
Next up, we have event 7, which is the men's 100-yard freestyle. We have 2 heats of this event. And in heat 1 for Byron Center, we have Josiah, Brody, Owen, and Manny. Let's see what can happen.
It's anyone's race. Again, another little team rivalry from Josiah and Manny. Again, Josiah's in lane 2 and Manny's in lane 8 at the bottom of your screen.
Nathan Rose from EGR is in lead, but there's also a couple other EGR kids.
Going into the last 50, lane 3 touches in a time of 28:42. And right behind them, lane 5 turns in 28:45.
This is very tight.
Manny and Josiah seem to be just about 4.5 tenths apart from one another, but it still looks incredibly tight. Manny may have a slight lead, but it'll really come down to the finish here. And closing the race is lane 5. He'll touch in a time of 59:05. Right behind him, lane 7 in a time of 59:58. Lane 3 will touch in third with a time of a minute point 73. And Manny and Josiah are really closing in right now. But it looks like it's going to be Manny in lane 8 with a time of 1:17.5.
We did not actually see Josiah split, so we are not actually currently sure who won.
Little board malfunction there.
Yes. But now we're moving on to heat 2. In this heat from Byron Center, we have Nolan Kirkwood, Austin Briggs, Cam Walters, and Sam Vanderwerf.
Make sure to check Meek Mobile shortly to see who won the race between Manny and Josiah.
This will be a tight race. A couple of the people's splits are very close. A few tenths apart even. Off the wall off the start first, Logan McCallhill from EGR.
Right behind him, we have Austin Briggs in lane 4. And in lane 3 is Carter Kegel. Austin was able to out-touch Carter Kegel in the 50. Let's see if he'll be able to do it again in the 100.
It looks like he will going into the third wall.
Anything can happen that last 25, though. One, two, and threes each have about half a body length on the one in front of them, or behind them. And it'll be lane 5 in a time of 48.73.
And Austin Briggs, not too far behind, finishes in a time of 49.19, which is about a 2-second drop.
Yeah, very impressive from Austin. Logan also has a pretty significant drop, about a 1.5 seconds. Nolan Kirkwood also drops about nearly 2 seconds.
Next event is the men's 500-yard freestyle.
From Byron Center in lane 2, we have Eli. In lane 4, we have Matt Barr from Byron Center. In lane 6, we have Andrew Hill.
In lane 1 from EGR, we have George. In lane 3, we have Eli. And in lane 5, we had Kenny. And in lane 7, Joey, all from EGR.
Andrew Hill is entering the time with a time of 55.46.6. Matt is entering with a 5:02.4, and Eli is entering with a 6:12.3. Let's see if any one of them can better or match their times. I think it's definitely possible.
Kenny from EGR is off the wall fastest. But in the 500, really anything can happen, as the 500 is also just as much as a mental game as it is a physical one.
Very true. Both Barr and Asif seem to be going pretty evenly within the first 50. Kenny Pontus from EGR is about 2 seconds off of Matt Barr for the first split. He's approaching the wall and will turn in a 56.71. Very good split for the first 100. Matt Barr turns in a 1:00.58, and shortly behind him, lane 3 will turn in a 1:00.65. It's definitely going to be a race for second between Matt and Eli. Kenny seems to have a very long stroke, pulling lots of water. He'll turn in a 30.6. Matt Barr turns in a 1:33.21, and right behind, or right ahead of him, is Eli in a time of 1:33.11. They're just a tenth apart now, but it's still anybody's race for second.
It is a very tight race going into the 200 mark.
Kenny will turn at the 200 in a time of 1:58.3. Matt and Eli both go 2:05 point.
With Matt just about 3 tenths behind.
Yep.
And a quick message from MHSAA. Sportsmanship has never been more important between the line in athletic and outsiders and outside those lines in our communities. To listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without consciousness, sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the values of education athletic.
Kenny turns with a split of 31-2. Matt turns in a split of 31-69, and Eli with a split of 32-61. Matt and Eli seem to be just about 9/10 apart now.
Eli does have a little bit of a lead on Matt.
Excuse me, 7/10.
But in a 500, literally anything can happen, and Matt is picking it up right now with this coach cheering him on.
Definitely a mental race just as much as a physical one. Both the brain and body need to be sharp. It does appear, though, that Matt is making a move on Eli in lane 4. Approaching the wall.
And Andrew Hill's split is a 35-44. Yeah, Matt has about almost a full body length lead now on Eli.
Yeah, he went 8/10 faster than Eli did in that last split to put him just over a second ahead.
They have 75 left now, going off that wall.
Kenny's having the bell ring for him. He's approaching his last 50, and he turned that 50 in a split of 31-4.
Yes, Matt has about a 2 body lengths lead now going into the final wall. The final turn of the 50. With holding about 30s the whole time.
Matt turns in a 30.5, about 2 seconds faster than his past splits. Kenny touches in a 5:04.45. That is very good considering he entered the race with a no time. And Matt pulled very far ahead, and he'll touch in a 2:16.57.
5:16.
Yes, excuse me.
And in third, Eli from EGR finishes in a 5:22.90.
Yeah, they finished nearly over 6 seconds apart.
When they had been neck and neck the whole time. This is
Yeah.
why the 500 is always an interesting and exciting race.
Lane 7 touches in a time of 5:32.2. And Andrew Hill is closing his race, and he'll touch in a time of 5:42.3.
Which is a new PR for him by about 4 seconds.
Yeah, very good.
And both Eli and Georgia are now finishing out.
Eli in lane 2 closes with a time of 5:59.2. Going under that 6-minute mark for the first time. Very impressive. Good job.
And George from EGR finishes in 7th place with a time of 6:08.72.
Very good job, guys. That was great.
Next up, we have the men's 200-yard freestyle relay.
Ooh, this one will be fun.
In lanes 2, 4, 6, and 8, we have Byron Center relays. And in lane 4, we have the A relay.
Leading off, we have Michael Grover, following Austin Briggs, Nolan Kirkwood, and then anchoring we have Cam Walters. The only time we have is the Byron Center A relay right now, and they're seated with the time of 1:31.3. Everyone else is entering with a no time. Let's see what Byron Center can do. Michael starts off with a very strong lead, gaining almost a body length, honestly, going into the first wall. Coming off the first wall, he'll have the whole body length almost.
This should be a very exciting race. Next up, we have Austin Briggs following Michael.
Michael touches in a time of 22:44.
And from EGR, Carter Kegel touches in a 23:44.
Just 1 second behind Michael. Coming off that turn, Byron Center has over a body length on East Grand Rapids. But the race for third is very real. Byron Center has just a slight edge, but it is anyone's race.
Austin touched in a 22:18.
Nice.
This is Nolan Kirkwood swimming the third leg.
Byron Center B and EGR B are 1/10 apart exactly going into the next 50.
EGR's A relay, Kenny Pontuis, is catching up. But going into the final wall, we have Cam Walters. Nolan touches in a 22:76.
Ethan Smith seems to be able to pull our B relay ahead a little bit. They have over a 1.5 lead off of the EGR.
It is very tight. It is very tight.
It appears EGR is catching the A relay.
EGR touches first with a time of 1:31.26, just edging out Byron Center.
He came back in a time of 21:09.
Yeah, he came back
good.
very fast from EGR with a time of 21:95.
Byron Center A, we had Cam Walters. He came back in at 24:3.
But Byron Center B really does finish third in a time of 1:41.29, which is also good.
Yeah, very good. They were able to go 2-3 again.
And in fifth place, from Byron Center, the C relay, in a time of 1:49 flat.
Next, we have the 100 yards backstroke.
In lane 2, we have Aaron Petroli. In lane 4, Nate Barr. In lane 6, Cole Mitchell, and in lane 8,
Ian.
McIan, sorry. All from Byron Center.
The top seed of this event does come from East Grand Rapids in lane 5. He's seated with a time of 56:33. But let's see what Byron Center can do right now. Lane 5 seems to be off to a strong start, pulling ahead a little bit of the rest of the field. This is expected though, because they're seated 7 seconds faster than the second seed.
Actually 4 seconds faster than lane 3, excuse me. But he always, when they're a very strong swimmer, they look like they're barely trying, like lane 5. But he's pulling so much water and going very fast.
Good
with
split.
also a strong kick.
27:28.
Yeah,
Very
out fast.
well done.
He should be able to beat his best time going out 27.
Oh, yes, excuse me. I meant 7 seconds off the next Byron Center seed.
We'll see if he can tie or beat a split. We'll see.
He seems to be pulling ahead, just tracking to about match it, but he'll actually go faster. He went a 55:69 and he was seated 56:3. He nearly not negative split, but matched his beginning split. He went 28:4.
Luke finishes second from EGR, and Cole Mitchell finishes third with a time of 1:02.42. And Aaron finishes fourth from Byron Center with a time of 1:06.93.
Ian in lane 8 dropped almost 6 seconds in this. That is very impressive.
Next up, we have the 100-yard breaststroke. Michael Grover from Byron Center is the top seed by a lot.
Going back to the
11 seconds.
backstroke, Cole Mitchell was also able to drop 2 seconds in that.
Very nice job, boys.
Very well done. This is Michael Grover's specialty. He is seated with a 56.6. Over 11 seconds faster than our next seed. Michael Grover has just over a body length lead going into the wall, the second wall.
But Gray from EGR is catching up.
Yeah, tracking closely behind him.
Only about a second behind.
Michael touches his first 50 split in a time of 30.31. And just behind him, we have lane 5 with a split of 31.47.
This will not be Michael's best race for his best time, but he will swim a good time still.
Yeah, still very good.
Yeah, Michael now has over a body length on Gray from EGR.
He has a very long, extensive breaststroke. And he'll touch in a time of 104.54.
And from EGR in lane 5, Fleur Moden with a time of 106.91. In fourth place, Ethan Smith from Byron Center touches in a 112.38.
Just off his best time. And lane 2 also has just off their best time as well.
Next up, we'll move on to our final event. This is the 400-yard freestyle relay.
This is the final event of the night. From lane 2, we have the Byron Center C relay with Andrew Hill leading off, Nate Barr, Aaron Petrulio, and Cole Mitchell. In lane 4, we have Michael Grover, Austin Briggs, Matt Barr, and Colton Standor for the A relay. For the B relay, in lane 6, we have Cam Walters, Chase Weber, Ethan Smith, and Eli. In lane 8, we have the D relay, Owen, Josiah, Ian, and Brady Walters.
Off fast from EGR, Kenny Pontuas. Only about an arm length ahead from Michael Grover, who just swam the 100 breast.
Yeah, this is the definition of back-to-back racing.
Michael's only about 4 tenths behind. Next up, we have Austin Briggs following Michael Grover. And from EGR, Carter Kegel.
Austin Briggs will touch in a time of 52.5.
About a second behind EGR.
Going into the first wall for our second leg of EGR, they came with a split of 24-3. Byron Center split will be 25-1. Right now, they're about 2 seconds apart.
Next up, we have Matt Barr following Austin. They want to win this. They're going to need to pick it up because they have about 3 body lengths lead. But still a 200 to go.
Yeah. It's also going to be a pretty tight race between Byron Center B and EGRC.
Never mind.
EGR finishes their split with a 25-1, and Byron Center right behind them, 25-0. Lane split 6 has a split of 26-7. And Michael Grover dives in to anchor off the A relay.
It's actually Colton Standorf. Oh, excuse me, they flipped them.
It's Michael.
Yeah, it's Michael. Sorry about that.
EGRA has a split of 23 and Michael Grover has a split of 24-3. It's looking like EGR is going to go 1 and Byron Center will follow in second.
But Michael is picking it up going into the final wall.
Yeah. Very good underwaters as well. All around for Michael. East Grand Rapids will win in a time of 3:26.04 and Byron Center just behind them in a time of 3:29.78. EGRB will get third in a time of 3:42.49. Well done, guys. Byron Center B is finishing in a time of 3:58.02. Right behind them is the C relay for Byron Center in a final time of 3:59.56. Right under that 4-minute mark. Good job. Brady Walters is closing in for the Byron Center D relay in lane 8 as well. Just ahead of him, though, we have EGRC in a final time of 4:21.78. Very good times for everyone, considering there's only one relay with a time going into this. Everybody else was in no time.
And Brady finishes with a final split of, the board malfunctioned, kind of.
1:08, and they have a final time of 4:44.64.
And that concludes our meet.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.
We'll know the scores shortly.
And just one last thank you to our Byron Center Athletics Gold sponsors, the University of Michigan Health West and the Center for Physical Rehabilitation. The Center for Physical Rehabilitation is the official sports medicine provider and proud sponsor of Bulldog Athletics. And we're proud to assist in developing Byron Center's student athletes. Find us at pt-cpr.com and on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And a thank you to our other sponsors, Byron Township, A Community on the Move, Gaines Charter Township, and Family Fair and Fast Signs.
Thank you. Overall, I would say that Byron Center had a phenomenal meet. There were some very tight races, some good finishes, great walls, underwaters, good starts. All around, just a very, very strong swam meet.
With also some great dives as well.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll know scores shortly.
And just one little last reminder about sportsmanship. Sportsmanship has never been more important. Between the lines in athletics and outside those lines in our communities, to listen, to respect, to understand, to practice common decency, to have competition without contentiousness, sportsmanlike qualities are essential components of life itself. Let's all work together to not only be good sports, but good people. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the values of educational athletes. Thank you for tuning in to our live stream this evening. Very good swims and dives all around. We just want to thank you for tuning in, and we hope you have a great night.